edition of Paterno Presser. Cory, Neil, Rudel. We just got finished with Joe's weekly press conference leading up to Alabama. Neil, a lot of questions about Bear Bryant. Obviously, two of the greatest coaching legends in history. Joe didn't really want to discuss that at all.
No, I don't think he wants to let, for a few reasons, I don't think he wants to let himself go down that road and take the focus off the team and the game. And the other thing is, I think emotionally at this stage of Joe's career, I don't think he really wants to get all that nostalgic about it because he's so tied to Bryant. They had such a great history together at the same era when both programs were at the absolute height. I just don't think he wants to kind of go down that road.
You were around Joe in the late 70s, early 80s. He couldn't solve Bear, 0-4, lost in the Sugar Bowl, lost in 82 when they won the national championship, 42-21. What was it about Bear and his teams that Joe and Penn State had some trouble with?
Well, they particularly had trouble with him at the goal line. Not only in everybody remembers in 79 when they couldn't get in and then lost the national championship game, but Alabama was a tremendous defensive team. I mean, a lot of speed on defense, spectacular plays, but up here in 81, I think Penn State had 7 shots from inside the 5 and didn't make it. That might have been the game that Bear tied or broke Amos Alonzo Stagg's record.
Bear
I think that
Bryant
was 314 at that time.
You know, again, Joe didn't really want to discuss Bear Bryant too much. He chose to keep it on this week. There's not really a lot of news around Penn State's team this week, so it was all kind of left up to talking about various units that didn't look all that great Saturday against Youngstown State, leading with the offensive line in the running game.
Yeah, as is usual, he doesn't like to make a lot of documentation or confirmation about the things that he didn't like. But I thought there were a couple things that jumped out at me in this press conference where clearly he's playing the underdog card. He used the word miracle, about admitting that they were undermanned. And they are, but he usually doesn't admit that like that. So clearly he's painting his team as what a great opportunity game this is.
It is, but again, the offensive line running game, if you're going to go down to Tuscaloosa and have a miracle, there have to be certain areas where you're going to excel at. And from what we saw against Youngstown State, their quarterback goes 21-25. A lot of it was the short dump-off stuff, but Penn State really couldn't stop that. They didn't get any pressure. They didn't run the ball themselves. So really a lot of issues. Joe always talks about the improvement from week 1 to week 2. They're going to have to make tons of improvements if they're going to keep this game close.
Right, and to your last point, he did admit that they're going to have to run the ball and play much better on the offensive line, which they didn't do against Youngstown State. He admitted that that's going to have to happen this week.
A lot of people piling on Evan Royster. We'll get to talk to Royster Wednesday morning on a teleconference. What's your stance on Royster at this point? It's one game. He only had 40 yards against a 1AA opponent. Is it Evan Royster? Is it the offensive line? Is it both?
I think it's probably both. I don't see him as being overly elusive in the open field. He caught the screen pass, he made a move, he had one guy to beat for a significant gain, tripped up. Joe backed off of some of his criticism today. It's basically the first Royster question I think he's fielded cleanly since the preseason. But he said in order for him to let out wideouts and stuff that they have done with him in the last year or so, he thought maybe he was too heavy, but he thinks that issue is behind him.
Clearly a great opportunity for Penn State here. The Lions come in with a chance to knock off the #1 team and defending national champions on the road. What does this opportunity mean for Penn State's program in what many people consider a rebuilding year? But if you can go down there and pull off a shocker here, this entire season takes on a different look, does it not?
Yeah, then the Kent State game becomes a big game. And say with Temple, all of a sudden you would have an X on your backs. I think, to go down there and have a representative performance, number one. I really don't know, listening to Joe, whether they think they can even win with a freshman quarterback at the defending national champions, the #1 team in the country. So I'm looking to see, can they improve a lot and hang in there? And, sad to say, that's not usually defining Penn State football as far as satisfactory, but this year it might be.
Let's get to the predictions. Depending on the point spreads you're looking at, Danny Sheridan or the Vegas hotels. Danny Sheridan's got it at 9.5 in favor of Bama. Most of the Vegas casinos have it at Alabama 11.5 or 12. So a big point differential there. A lot of Penn State fans I've talked to for months, they see it one way or another. They see a 21, 28 point blowout, or they see a 3 or 4 point loss. this. Which way do you see?
I see. I don't understand the line. That's usually a ticket that you should go take the points. I can't see that. I say Alabama 28-9. I just think that. I just think there's too many question marks on this Penn State team that were not answered against Youngstown State.
So 28-9. I've got it Alabama 37-13, even without Mark Ingram, even without defensive end Marcel Darius. I still think Alabama's going to be able to move the ball. I don't think Penn State's going to be able to move the ball. Therefore, kind of a repeat what we saw at Notre Dame back in 2006. When your offense can't do anything, your defense is going to be on the field all day, and I think Alabama may not run over Penn State the first quarter, maybe early part of the second quarter, but with Penn State's offense not doing anything, I think Alabama is just going to wear them down.
Yeah, I agree. It's a huge challenge, and I think what chance Penn State may have is on the defensive side of the ball.
For Neil Rudel, I'm Cory Geiger. Thanks for tuning into our Paterno Presser. Be sure to read the Altoona Mirror and check our website. Friday and Saturday, we will have live videos from Tuscaloosa, both previewing the game Friday night and following the game Saturday. Thanks for tuning in.